bookaholics, so welcome back to another vlog. It is my FaRoFeb vlog. Throughout February, I am vlogging because I am participating in too many readathons. I did Polathon last week. I'll leave the vlog linked somewhere. And though FaRoFeb is a month-long readathon, I am going to be doing it this week because I wanted to participate in Blackathon, I wanted to participate in Polathon, and I wanted to participate in FaRoFeb. So I allocated each of the full weeks of February to one of the readathons. Obviously, with Valentine's Day being this Wednesday, I am therefore going to be doing FaRoFeb this week. First things first, let's go through the books that I'm planning on reading. Now, I have basically a split personality when it comes to reading romance. I don't read an awful lot of romance, but when I do, I read either fun, cute romance or dark smut. There is no middle ground. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing this week. I have two ebooks, which are the second and third books in the Souls trilogy by Harley LaRue, which are Her Soul for Revenge and Soul of a Witch. I read the first book in this series, which is Her Soul to Take, back in February of last year, I think. And I really liked it. And then I continued on with Harley LaRue's other series, which is The Losers. Really loved that. So I'm really looking forward to reading this series. And so far it's going quite well. I did start it last night. I'm not very far in, but I did start it last night. And yeah, I find it fun. But they are incredibly dark. They are BDSM romances, and they are with a demon love interest as well. So there are those like slight anatomical differences. Slightly monster romance, but not really. More humanoid. There's a limit to how far away from humanoid I can go. And yeah, so far it's good. So I'm looking forward to getting into those. This is a series in which we have a town that has a kind of ancient sleeping god under it. And 6 generations ago, some men got trapped in a mine and they made a deal with this god to live. And in exchange, in 6 generations, they would sacrifice one of their own family members to awaken this god. So in the first one, we are following a girl who is one of the descendants, and she just returned to this town, so it's kind of like she's not fully aware of everything that's going on. She is like a paranormal investigator, and she ends up accidentally summoning a demon, but also freeing him because he had been kind of like held captive by this other family that are carrying out all of the rituals. The second book, which is the one I'm currently reading, is following the perspective of a girl they previously tried and failed to sacrifice. And then the last one is the daughter of the family that are doing all the sacrificing. So yeah, I am enjoying it. Again, they're demon romances. They're not believable. They're not realistic in any way, shape or form, but they're a hella good time and they're hella kinky. So good times all round. Now, moving on to my other series, which is the Elements of Cadence series by Rebecca Ross. I know that at the minute, Rebecca Ross is potentially more popular for her other series. I can never remember what it's called, but the one that is like World War I inspired or something. But I want to read these. These are her adult ones, and we're on the magical Isle of Cadence, and on it there is something going around that means that like the spirits of the island are either disappearing or they are frightened, and the only way that we can dissipate this, or at least make the spirits feel okay, is through a bard. However, the lady of this isle hates the bard. So therefore, we have it where she has to rely upon a guy she hates. It's enemies to lovers. It's going to be a good time. I'm super excited. The series consists of A River Enchanted, A Fire Endless, and I will be getting to these soon. I've got to run, so once I've read something, I'll let you know. Hey vlog, it's Tuesday, so I thought I would check in again. I'm a bit backlit, I'm really sorry, but I couldn't be bothered to move and I had a tripod right by me, so I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it here. I am now 58% of the way into Her Soul for Revenge, which I think is pretty good going, given that it's still Tuesday morning. And yeah, I am really liking that one. I have heard some people that liked the first one not being as much of a fan of the second one. The character I relate to a little bit less. She's been through a lot more. She's one of those hardened girls, and therefore she hasn't got time for shit and doesn't like feelings and all of those kinds of things. So she's not a character, that archetype that I normally like. Given the circumstances, it's fine, I understand, and it works within the romantic dynamics. This is not the kind of series if you want there to be more build-up between the characters. This is very fast moving because they are essentially standalones. I think you could read them in any order and it will make sense. So because they're overlapping stories, they're all happening at the same time. I really like this series, and I really like Carly LaRue's writing. I find it very compelling. I like the way that she writes sex scenes as well. I don't find them overly cringe. I have a fun time with them. And then I'm not very far in. I am 92 pages into A River Enchanted, which is not very far. These books are rather long for a romance. I'm not used to romances being long. They're normally like quick and snappy and keep your attention, but this one's 467 pages. So I need to kind of get a wiggle on with this one a little bit because obviously I've got the sequels to both of these books that I'm currently reading as well. The writing style in this one it's not as flowery as I thought it would be, but I think the cover is what was making me think that this would be flowery. I don't think anything I've heard about it was that it was like super prosaical or anything. I think it was just, it has a very like literary fiction style cover, so I thought, oh, it might have like literary undertones. It hasn't, but I don't mind that. That's not really what I'm reading it for. Not a huge amount has happened. It's the setup, so we're still in the throes of like what is on the back of the book, so nothing unexpected has happened yet. We haven't really had a huge amount of plot, really. Well, we have, but not anything that I didn't know would happen because it's still what's happening on the back of the book. So far, so good. I'm enjoying it. I'm excited to continue. Again, like, it's only Tuesday. It's Tuesday morning. I've just woken up. I've woken up and sorted my kids out. I haven't actually started reading yet. So that's actually a decent amount to have been reading, because that's got to be about 200 pages of Harley LaRue and then nearly 100 pages of this one. So I actually read a lot yesterday, but because I'm blogging, it always feels like I need to have more to say, and I don't have anything really to say on this one yet. And then the Harley LaRue one is a sequel, and until I'm a bit further in, and maybe with the Harley LaRue ones, because I already know the plot, it's just from a different POV, and then the interactions between the two characters, like how their romance buds. So I don't know if I'm going to have a huge amount to say. It's not that I don't have any thoughts on the book. It's that I don't have anything new compared to the other one, apart from talking about the relationship dynamics, which is even more volatile than the first book, which is saying something, because these books are literally like incredibly aggressive sex, like it's BDSM. But this one, it's less. So with the first one, it's more just, it's a kink she's got and that's who she is. While with this one, it's more someone who is trying to process their pain and their trauma through sex. I hope that Harley LaRue handles it well and it doesn't become like, oh, sex is a crutch for your pain and suffering, because that would be kind of sad. We'll see how it goes. That's where I'm at. I have read a lot and it feels like I have nothing to say yet. So hopefully I'll get some decent reading done today, and when I check in tomorrow I'll actually have something to say, because I'll be a bit further into these books and more things will be happening. Hey guys, it's Wednesday, it's halfway through the week, so I thought I would check in and let you know how I am progressing with my books. I haven't made a huge amount more progress with actually I have. I am about 70% of the way in, so it's only 12%, but I've made some progress with that one. Things are starting to really pick up now, and you can see a lot more of the convergence with the other book in the series, the first book, because there's a scene that you're getting from one perspective and then a scene that you're getting now from this perspective, and they interplay with each other, and this is where you really meet the character from the second book in the first book, if that makes any sense. Like, the first time the characters of the first book meet each other is through this scene that I've just had. So it's been an interesting ride, and I really like the relationship between the two. Like, it's smut, it's super toxic, like it's not a healthy relationship, but they're unhealthy people, so like they were inherently going to have an unhealthy relationship. So I don't know, like it is what it is, I guess. I'm liking the dynamic between them. I think I potentially like Leon as a love interest more, the protagonist of the first book. But one of the things that I really like is actually that we get dual perspective in this series. Like, all of the books are from both perspectives, which is really cool. So you get his inner thoughts as well. Obviously you're getting his inner thoughts, but it's still very much written where he's the love interest and she's the protagonist. So I feel like I still like Leon more as a love interest, but Zane is pretty cool as well. Like, he's funny. And yeah, I'm having a good time with that one. And so far I am just under halfway through A River Enchanted. Ideally, I would like to have this finished today. It's not a big deal if I don't. I actually have more reading time during the week, but this week I haven't, because I have, not only have I got to do all of the, I hate these planes so much. I have a tiny little airport, like it's literally a tiny airport. It's also a flight school just down the road from me. And you think living in the countryside would be nice and quiet, which generally it is. And then every now and then you have these planes flying, and it's like, not only are they super fucking loud, but the problem is that they are a two-man plane. Like, they're a tiny little plane. So like the amount of like consumption of fuel and the amount of pollution that is coming out of those planes for two people to be flying in it, it's like, oh my god. So yeah, I kind of hate them. I used to love them as a kid. They used to be fun, and then I grew up and learned about the environment, and now they're less fun. Where was I would like to finish this today. It doesn't seem likely, because all my usual stuff that I need to get done during the day, I like break up with breaks where I sit down and read, have a coffee, etc. But I've been having like my coffee on the go lately, because I'm doing all of the usual stuff that I do with my day. So like prepping like all of my kids' stuff, so like laundry, getting them ready in the morning, etc. But then on top of that, and I am also then like doing some worky stuff. But then on top of that, now I'm also trying to prep my house for when my niece comes. So I'm trying to prep like the room that we're bashing about, and also her bedroom. And I'm also trying to, so when she first comes, so I can spend a load of time with her, I'm trying to pre-film and pre-make all of my content so that I don't have to then worry about filming or anything. Like, she just has my undivided attention. Not that the content is hugely important, like I don't get loads of views or anything, I'm not earning money off of it, but it's just like there are lots of things that I think of that I would like to do, and then it kind of all piles up and it becomes overwhelming, and I would rather like just have like a steady schedule, so that then it's like, okay, these are the videos that I'm getting out, because otherwise like it all piles up and then I have to like sacrifice some. So that way, if I plan, it's like, okay, just plan the month, and then any other ideas I can just jot down, and it doesn't feel quite so much of a compromise. So I'd like to try and pre-film as much as possible. That's where I am at. This one, I am on page 204. I am having a good time with it still. It's weird because it is lyrical for like a fantasy. It's kind of like in that uprooted Wilderwood ilk, where it's like it has got this prosaical and folkloric vibe to it. It definitely has that. This definitely feels very fairy tale retelling, even though I don't think it is. It's fascinating because like, we're getting more perspectives than I thought we would, which is pretty cool. But another thing that I really appreciate about this one is that it is flowery in an approachable way. It's not one of those that's just using metaphors for the sake of it that don't mean anything. It doesn't take you away from the flow of the story, because with romances like this, well actually even the smutty ones, like with romances, I want them to be ones that don't make me think too much, ones that I can dip in and out of and it doesn't matter, ones that I can just breeze through. So I don't want them to be overwritten or anything, or be dense. So I'm really glad that this one has found like a decent balance of it's still sounding very nice, very whimsical, very folkloric, while at the same time not actually being purple prose and being annoying to read when you're not in the mood for it. I am having a good time, and I look forward to continuing both of my reads, and hopefully I can finish this today, but we shall see, and I will let you know when I have read some more. Hey vlog, I am about to head out in a minute, so I'm going to try and make this quick. I am going for my smear test. For all the ladies out there, get your smear tests. So I've been really anxious all day because I get medical anxiety, and especially when it comes to a smear test, who'd have debunk it. So I am in like this like chaotic, nervous energy mode. So reading has not really been accomplished. Because I wanted to distract myself, I have been fiddling with my jars, which I was going to film, and then my phone had very, very little battery, and I would like to have my phone for when I'm out. So I'll just show you the end result. But I did do my digital jar. I revamped it. I'm really happy with it. It's a lot. It's very full on, but I got some flowers and I don't know, it's all like this kind of Victorian-esque style. I really like it. And then I also changed out my series jar. It's now this jar, which somewhat matches my TBR jar. So it's like the ones that I pull from every month unfailingly, and then the ones that are a little bit more subjective to change. Do you think I should change this one to match this one? Like, do you think I should put stickers and stuff on this one too? Let me know. And then I also changed up my reread jar. I've got this kind of like nighttime vibe going, which I'm also very happy with. So yeah, I changed up my jars because I just needed to be doing something this morning. So I am taking with me, I'm gonna take, I think, my tablet, which I will read the Harley LaRue Her Soul for Revenge on instead, and I'll finish this when I get home because I literally have 100 pages left from last night. I was going to read and then me and my husband got talking and I didn't read. It was late and I'm old now. So I will read this when I come home and then I'll be able to give you final thoughts. But I am going to take my tablet with me, one because I want to make a graphic for something which should be coming. I will consult with my friend and then I will hopefully be able to tell you about it in this vlog and not be one of those people that's like super vague. But I'm making a graphic for something, so I'm going to take that with me in case I can't concentrate to read. I can probably concentrate to make graphics. So that's where I'm at. Hopefully I will come back and feel a bit better. I feel a bit less nervous and it'll all be over and done with. So yeah, at the minute just anxiety is getting the better of me. So at least I put it in towards something a little bit more productive, and I did do up my jars and now they look really cute. And then that way hopefully either when I get back or at this rate probably now tomorrow, I can film my March TBR, which I'm really excited for because I'm going to be doing Realmathon. So I need to pull from the jars, and then based on the jars it will determine what realm I'm for, how I can strategize to get the most points and stuff. So I'm excited for it. I'm just terrified at the moment. Productive stuff happens when I'm anxious, it would seem. So I'm gonna get going and wish me luck and hope it doesn't cause me too much pain, and I will see you on the other side. Happy Friday, lovely peoples. I have now finished A River Enchanted and I have finished Her Soul for Revenge. So I will give you hopefully more coherent thoughts than whatever my ramblings were yesterday because I was very anxious. So I'll start with Her Soul for Revenge. That one I ended up giving 4 stars. I liked it. I didn't like it as much as the first one, but I still really liked it. I find that the type of character that Juniper is, as much as I appreciate them, they don't really connect with me. These human balls of rage and that only understand rage and pain. I don't know. I feel like there need to be more dimensions than that for me to really, really connect with a character. So as much as I really liked the pairing, there were definitely things that I really did enjoy. I enjoyed the fact that we had a dominant scene where she was the dominant one. We don't normally see that a lot in smut. It's normally male dominance. Another thing that I really appreciated was kind of the sexual openness in the pairing. So both of them very much up to the ideas of like a menage a trois or just kind of like multiple sexual partners. There wasn't a level of jealousy. It was more like that person finds you hot and I find that hot, which was really cool as well. So there were definitely some parts to do with especially the sexual side that I I thought were very cool. The plot is literally the same plot as the first book, just from a different perspective. So there were no surprises there for me. Seeing some of the scenes unfold was great, but obviously we know who makes it out and stuff, so there weren't any surprises. So that did technically impact the plot because you know how it's going to go down because you've already seen the story. So basically, I was only reading this one for the interpersonal relationships, which, as I said, on a sexual level, I found really, really awesome, potentially better than the first book, but on a emotional level, slightly less, because I was not impacted by the type of character that Juniper is. So overall, actually no, it did come out of 5 stars. It was like 1 point off of being 4 stars. So overall, it did get its 5 stars, but it's like on the cusp. Like anything was 1 point less than it would have been 4 stars. That being said, I did have a really good time with it. I really like this series. I really like Harley LaRouche's writing. If you are looking for more romantic stories, they're not going to be for you. The sex comes in real quick in these stories. You know, she doesn't mess around. They are immediate sex scenes, so you're not going to get loads and loads of build up, and a lot of the time you'll have people having sex before they're in love with each other. So if you're someone who prefers their romance and their sex to be, you know, the typical, you fall in love with someone then you start having sex with them, these aren't going to be for you. I like them, and I am reading them with the full knowledge they are erotica, not romance. I mean, there's romance eventually too, but it starts out with the sex. The sex comes first. So it's, you know, if that's not your thing, then obviously that's fine. You know that going in. If you are looking for there to be like this long romantic build-up, you're not going to get that. Then I finished A River Enchanted. I haven't run this one through Core Power yet. I liked this, but I was rather disappointed by the ending. The way that this ending went about, obviously I can't talk about it, but the way this ending went about it, it was very much, I'm going to keep asking you something, I'm going to keep asking you something, and then when you finally adhere to it, even though you look unhappy about it, it's like, see, I knew you would eventually adhere to this, even though they clearly don't want to, and it's only at your insistence. And so I didn't like the ending at all. There was a decent enough plot. It feels very folkloric. It feels very much, so we have some girls that are going missing from this island, and it's possible that there are spirits at play. The island is one that is very much presided over, ruled over by the spirits. So things that you would consider to be kind of more like a natural happening are spirits in this world, in this story, which is very well crafted. I found the prose to be an interesting mix between it being very simplistic, very accessible, easy to get through, but also having a hint of floweriness, kind of along the same lines as like For the Wolf, Uprooted, what's the other one? The Wolf and the Woodsman, all of the wolfy ones. All of those, they have that, like, it feels very like new adult writing in the sense of like, it's very approachable, it's very accessible, easy transition from YA into adult. Like they are adult stories, we're following adult protagonists, but the writing style still very much is a very nice transition from YA towards adult, but they still have like enough like prosaic or lyricalness to them to make them sound pretty, but not in like a convoluted way, not like the like more literary fantasies that we get. So it's pretty simplistic at the same time, which I like. I like stories that are like that. They're very good for when my brain is not functioning. I did very much want the balance for this week to be kind of like between my erotica, it's quite dark, it's quite intense, there are some scenes that are like, oof, okay, all right then. You know, like we had like a torture / dismemberment scene in that one. So then I wanted the lighter, cuter, prettier ones going on, which is exactly what I got. But yeah, I was very unhappy with the ending. There were bits in the middle that dragged out a little bit for me. There were characters that I liked more than others as well. So again, like the whole issue with POVs where it's like, oh, I don't really, oh, it's your POV. Okay, I guess I'll read it, but I'm not interested. There were some characters who were keeping secrets that it just seemed counterintuitive to be keeping those secrets as well. There were definitely some plot holes. The logic wasn't there for me, and I wanted more. I wanted more from it than I got. So I'm going to go continue on with the sequel, and hopefully I will enjoy it a little bit more. Hopefully the issues that I had, especially with the ending of this one, will have some sort of resolution in the next one. But yeah, as it currently stands, not the best. I don't think that this is going to get much more than a 3-star. Happy Saturday, gang! It's the weekend and I have been sat here all morning reading. I am now 51% of the way into Soul of a Witch, which is the third book in the Souls series, and I am actually really liking this one. I was worried about this one because Evely, the protagonist of this one, you see all the protagonists in the previous books, I'm sure I've already mentioned that, and Evely is the one that seems like she's going to be really soft and gentle and sweet, so I was a little bit concerned about how that would work with the BDSM nature of this series, and we've actually had some really touching moments. The setup for this one is fated mates, like they all have like a romantic trope, and then you have obviously the different types of kinks, and yes, in this one you have fated mates, and then you have dominance tropes, etc. They all have like impact play and pain play. This one, the dominance does go both ways. It is very much like mutual. In any case, she is slightly more dominant than he is, and I really like that. One of the things I really like about the depictions of the demons in this world as well is that you do get them being very open sexually, which is fantastic. So there isn't that toxic masculinity that a lot of the times you will get in BDSM, older BDSM. You know, you have men that are really up for trying things, and there's kind of no shame in any of it as well, and it's a lot of fun. So I really like reading that aspect of it. The perspective, as I said, of Evely is an interesting one as well. She is a virgin, which obviously within BDSM can be quite a complicated one, because obviously if you are a virgin, you know, it's something that you have to ease into slowly, and it's done really well. It's done in a very therapeutic way. A lot of the BDSM in this series is incredibly therapeutic. It is about pushing through your internal pain through physical pain, as much as they are, don't try this at home sometimes because it's with demons. It is well crafted and it is quite respectful to the BDSM community, which I think is really important. I'm having a good time with this one, and like I said, I found there was a lot of value in the, you know, slowly easing someone into it, especially in this case with someone who is a virgin. I really am liking the fated mates thing, because the romances are a little bit like, the romance is very intense with these demons, because they are like, they kind of imprint almost, and they kind of latch onto you, and it becomes a bit obsessive. But this one, it's somehow both like this really intense fire, but also it has this layer of gentility, of kindness that wasn't in the previous ones, which suited the personalities of the other two. Like, it's no complaint against the other ones, but this one is more gentle in the romance, and I find that very heartwarming, and it's very sweet at the same time, while you've got all of these like intense kinks going on, and you've got demons and you've got murder and stuff going on. So it's a good combo, and I'm really liking this one. It's really funny actually, because when you see the protagonist of the first book, while you're reading her book, it's like, okay, she's naive because she's not clued in on anything. Out of the three protagonists, she's the one that has absolutely no idea about anything, and it's so funny because then you have like, so the next one is like this hardened kick-ass girl, and then you've got this really powerful but has been pushed down and trodden down her whole life girl, but they're both clued in. So whenever you are watching either of them interact with the girl from the first book, it's like, oh my sweet little moron. It's very funny. But yeah, I'm having a good time with that one. I'm looking forward to continuing. I think the only issue I am having with this one, so it starts out like 2,000 years ago when the male love interest realizes that he is that he has a fated mate, and he's gonna have to wait 2,000 years for her. And that's fine, except that we've got a 2,000-year-old demon and his name is Callum. I just can't get behind it. It's like if he'd given himself that name to suit like modern standards, because, you know, Azazel or something wouldn't work in modern standards, sure, but you have these guys, you have Leon, Zane and Callum, and that is their literal names, so they have like just proper modern names. Anyway, like, and then we have like scenes from like 2,000 years ago where he's fighting a god's war, and you know, Callum the Archdemon. Just find it really funny. So there's that. Then we have A Fire Endless. This one is not going quite so well. I am 114 pages in and I am not having a good time. I didn't like the ending of the previous book. Where this one's going is very annoying. And I think my problem with this series is that we have protagonists where they are in different parts of relationships, like they're in different phases of their romances. We have Sidra and Torrin, and then we have Jack and Adira, and they are romantic pairings, and the focus is on the romance. But one of the problems that I am having is that this one doesn't balance the fantasy aspect with the romance properly. One of the things I've always talked about in fantasy romance that is really important to me is that I love the balance. Fantasy romance, a lot of the time you have the fantasy element that is there to create stakes and to create natural reasons why characters would be driven apart, why the romance cannot really blossom because they don't have time for it, because they're trying to save the world or whatever. I think one of the problems I have with this one is the balance is really off, because you have these plots that very much should be the center of everyone's attention. In the first one, we have 3 young girls have gone missing, and everyone is okay just like stopping and forgetting their concerns and grief so that there can be a wedding, and everyone's super happy. It's just awful. It's not believable in that sense. And in this one, the reasons why our characters are apart do not work, because they didn't work in the ending of the first book, which means that permeating this book and everyone's misery and all of that, and it being literally pointless, is so frustrating. So I am not having a very good time with this one at the moment. I will see when I get back to you how I feel about it, but at the moment it's not going well. Hey guys, it's Sunday and it's the end of the vlog. We're here to wrap everything up. I am done with FaRoFeb. I'm gonna wrap up the 2 things that I haven't talked about, and then I'll just give like an overview of the vlog. Starting off, we had Soul of a Witch, and Soul of a Witch ended up being a decent read for me, and I'm giving it 5 stars. I've mentioned this before, but like 5 stars, depending on the genre, don't mean the same thing. Like, is this better than a Robin Hobb book I've read? No, of course it's not. But it did what I wanted within it, the space that it was writing within erotica. So it's not like new favorite, but as erotica goes, it was really bloody good, and I had a really good time with it. So just for anyone wondering, yeah, I had a really good time with that one. I actually really liked the relationship between these 2, because it did a really good job of balancing the romance, because their romance was actually a really gentle, really kind romance, while also incorporating the BDSM. We have someone trying to come out of their shell, and the love interest therefore helping them. They've been in an abusive relationship all their life, and people overcoming trauma and coming together through that. It was lovely, and I liked the romance, on top of the fact that I liked the smut. Obviously the plot is the same as the 2 previous ones, just from a slightly different angle. But yeah, I had a good time with it. I am enjoying reading Harley LaRue's writing. I'm enjoying reading characters as well as the plot and the sex, which is what you're actually there for. Had a good time, glad I read it. However, I DNF'd to Fire Endless. I couldn't bring myself to read anymore. Bookmark is coming out. I DNF'd it. I did not care at all. I finished Soul of a Witch, and then it was like, okay, the only thing I have left to read now is A Fire Endless, and I just didn't want to read. I didn't want to read anything, because the only thing that I had ongoing was this. And then my friend Eleanor and I, we're doing a buddy read of The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. I'm not going to talk about that in this vlog because this is a FaRoFeb vlog, but we are doing a buddy read, and instantly I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'll go pick that up tonight. So I just didn't want to read this, so I am DNFing it. That's it. I don't care where the story goes. I don't care to find out the ending. I don't care about the characters. Just there were so many things that were not working for me because of the ending of the first book. This book just felt so meaningless and had no enticement for me at all. Yeah, I got 150 pages in and I DNF'd. So that's that. So as a quick overview, we have Her Soul for Revenge, which I ended up giving 5 stars, had a really good time with, on the cusp of 5 stars, like 1 point less than anything and it would get 4.5. It's got 5 stars. I had a good time with it. It was exactly what I wanted it to be. The same can be said for Soul of the Witch. I liked Soul of the Witch more. I liked the relationship more. And I found Everly a character that the type of character that I enjoy more. I liked all of them. My favorite was probably Soul of the Witch because I liked the dynamic between the two. But yeah, it was good. And then the other one that I have is A River Enchanted, or the Elements of Cadence series, which I ended up DNFing. I gave the first book. It's a really, really low 3-star. Like if one of the things had one less point, it would be 2 stars. And then I DNF'd the second book. Some highs and some lows going on here. But yeah, I had a good time with the Souls trilogy. Look forward to reading more by Harley LaRue. Don't think I'll be picking up anything else by Rebecca Ross. I'm a little bit disappointed and a little bit bitter. So that's where I'm at. Let me know how your Valentine's Day week or at least your Valentine's Day went, and did you do anything? Do you celebrate? I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. My kids did me a lovely little like heart-shaped card, like they each cut out a heart and then stuck it onto a big purple heart, which I think symbolized me, and that was really cute and I loved that. And then we had dinner with my parents, we had strawberries with chocolate. It was cute, I liked it, but when we don't like buy each other things or anything. But yeah, so that is all from me for this vlog. So thank you ever so much for watching, and I will hopefully catch you in another one soon.